What items to buy right now after the trade-up update. It's currently 28th of October and I'm gonna tell you exactly which items I think is gonna be best to buy right now, or at least what I'm looking at right now. I'm still doing a little bit of research of which skins I'm actually going to buy, and I might update this in my Discord. First of all, I'm gonna tell you that this is probably not safe advice and you should do your own research first. Also, I forget to ask for people to subscribe, so if you do find this useful at some point, just subscribe. Otherwise, let's just get into it. Before I tell you which items to buy, I'm gonna quickly give you a summary of what is happening right now. If you don't want to listen to this, you can just skip ahead to the end of the video and see what items I'm going to recommend you. First, a quick summary. Right now, I'm just going to show you the price empire page. The prices are recovering a little bit. So as you can see, it went from 6 billion market cap to 3.5 billion. Afterwards, we can see that it's now at 4 billion. It's recovered with like 10%. So after the dip, it has recovered for 10%. Mainly, still right now, the confidence is lost in the market, but we see some interesting things. Now, mainly in the Chinese markets, the confidence is lost right now. A lot of Chinese people who took out loans, whatever, have sold all their investments and, they're kind of done with it right now. The market is still recovering and I'm going to show you how it is doing that in a second. This video is brought to you by Skinsmonkey, the best place if you want new CS2 skins instantly and cheap. It's an automated trading site with easy filters and unlimited skins to choose from. Trading is easy. Just select your skins from your inventory, then select which skins you want to trade for, click on trade items and you're done. You can even get up to $5 completely for free for using the link in the description or my code shown on screen right now, Pili. Skinsmonkey also offers you the option to buy skins for cheap. They have a standard 30% deposit bonus, but if you use my code Pili, you'll get an extra 5%. Don't forget to check out the daily giveaways in the free freebies tab. And if you have any questions, you can ask the 24/7 live support. But for now, let's get back to the video. Alright, now let me explain what happened to the knives first. So these are the knives. I didn't include the gloves, but the gloves will be slightly the same. So what we can see is what happened is on the 23rd, the date that the trade-up update went live, we see a very big dip. It went down crazy, and now we can see that most of these knives, these are some of the most popular knives I could find, or most are random, they are going like up and now they're pretty stable. Okay, that's what's happening. Here's a picture. So they went down and then they're either going up. For example, for this one, it's just staying stable. It's pretty much the same level right now for a few days. So it seems to be that this is kind of like a safe price. Like this is as much low as it can get right now. But we know that if on the 23rd of October, all the update there was, then all the knives that were created in the trade-ups are tradable on the 30th of October, okay? Maybe the 31st, that can also be the case. So what's going to happen is they're going to come a lot of knives and people are expecting a dip. So I drew the line with what I'm going to think is going to happen. Right now it's the 28th of October and we can see here's the 30th of October. You can see that the line is going to stay stable. And on the 3rd of October, people are expecting a dip. Because here's what's going to happen, if I'm correct. So the people who bought red skins on the 23rd of October and they didn't buy it on the Steam market, they bought it on the third-party market. If they are doing a trade-up, the skin gets tradable on 30th of October. Okay, they can either sell their red skins to the market or they can do a trade-up with knives. They get the knives. Okay, if they get the knives, then they need to wait another 7 days before they can sell that knife. So that's why people also expect a small drop on the 6th of November. And then after November, most people, expect it to go up again, the prices. But we're going to get to this in a second. But I had to explain this because otherwise you're not going to understand it. But I'm going to explain this more in just a moment. Here are the red skins. So these are going to be most of the red skins. As you can see, there's also some normal skins, but I wasn't bothered to check them all. Okay, so here are the graphs of the red skins. It's either one of these graphs. It's either just a graph going straight up, or it's most commonly it's just it went straight up and now it's slowly going up, kind of staying the same. And the reason it's slowly going up is because, people want to do the trade up, people want to buy the skins, whatever, okay? Here we can see this is an example for a random skin I took. This is the Upin graph. We can see it shot up on 23rd of October. Then we have 30 October, Probably what's going to happen is that the reds are also going to dip. This is what I'm thinking. I'm going to explain to you why I think this in a second. And on the 6th of November, I'm kind of like, I'm not sure what's going to happen. To be honest, I think it's not going to have a big impact. But we'll just have to see. Let me explain you right now what I think is going to happen. So this is the timeline, okay? 23 October was the trade-up update. So all the knives that were created by trade-ups are tradable, okay? The supply of all the knives is going to increase because they can now be sold. So there's going to be a lot of selling pressure. You do have to remember that on the 30th of October, a lot of people know this date and a lot of people are preparing for this. So the dip is probably not going to be as much as you expect. Also, on this day, people can sell reds they bought. This is why I was thinking that on the 30th of October, reds may see a dip, okay? Because everyone who bought reds, either from the Steam market or from another market, they can now sell their skins to any market. They can sell it on Chinese market, on CS Float, whatever. They can sell it anywhere right now. You're gonna see a Steam price is gonna drop like crazy because there's a really big spread right now. But this is what you have to remember. A lot of knives can be sold and a lot of red skins can be sold. So there's gonna be a big selling pressure. What you will see is that maybe, you know, the skin in 1 hour, the skin is worth $10. The next hour it's $9, and the next hour it's $10 again. Okay, so that's the opportunity we have here. In green, this is the effect of what's going to happen. So the Steam community market / CS float prices, they will go down like crazy. I'm gonna give you the example. Okay, so you will see knives like this, where this survival knife is worth about $244 on CS Float, and it's actually selling for this price. You can see sold for $250, $280, $275. It's selling for crazy prices, even though on Buffalo3 it's $133 for a buy order, you know, and there are buy orders on CS Float for $190. That means that is almost 50% more money than the actual price of the skin. Okay, so you can see all of these prices are gonna go down like crazy, and this is, to be honest, this is a bad example. You can just check the skins and see what's going to happen. At the same time, what I see right now actually is that I see some red skins, for example, this buzzkill, is now going for cheaper than on buff 163. Just look at how many skins are selling for under the buff price, which may indicate that the Chinese price for red skins is currently overpriced. You know, it's higher than it should be. If people are willing to sell their skins for less than the buff 163 price on CS Float, maybe this is the case, maybe not. Maybe this means that the reds are a little bit too expensive on buff 163 right now, and the knives are a little bit too cheap right now, which, to be honest, I think is not even wrong to think. But let's go back to the slide, because here's what's going to happen. Okay, I already explained is the prices are going to go down. One effect of this is that the trade-ups are going to have less profit. So if the Steam price go down, if the other prices go down, then the trade-up is going to bring less profit. And this will also mean that there's going to be less demand for reds, because right now a lot of people want to buy reds. First of all, because it's new. Okay, people want some new thing. They're keen. They want to do the trade-up. But second of all, they want profit. Okay, most people want profit. They cannot just put down $200 just for the sake of it, you know. I don't think many people are just gonna do it if they know they're gonna lose money. Okay, so these are the two effects you have to keep in mind. And then let's take a look at 6 November, which not really many people are talking about, but I think can be something beneficial. So 6 November, people who bought reds and did the trade up, it's tradable. Okay, what I mean with this, the people who bought the skins, the red skins on 23 October, then on 30 October, they can trade up that skin and they can create knives. And then on 6 November, those knives will be tradable. Maybe it's 7 November if I did the math wrong, but 6 or 7 November, then the knives are going to be tradable, which means there's going to be an increase of knife supply. You know, I don't know how many people are going to sell those reds or how many people are going to make knives. So we'll just have to see what's going to happen. But in this case, the first effect, the knives will go up. So you could expect maybe on this day or maybe on the following days that there gonna be a small dip in the price for knives. Then the red supply. So what I wrote down is the people who bought on October 30th. So some people who bought the dip are maybe going to sell their skins once again on 6 November. This I'm not sure at right now. And then the last thing I have is the cases opened is also going to bring more supply. This is for both 30 October and 6 November. You have to remember that a lot of cases opened is also going to mean that there's going to just be more supply. You have to think about that, okay? I've now given you most information of the next 2 weeks. This is what I think is going to happen. What is going to happen in between these dates, I'm not sure. But this is just my thought pattern right now. Let me now tell you a thing about these knife trade-ups, which is very interesting and you should take note of. So what I did here is I did an example trade-up and I put in just random 5 skins. Doesn't matter which skins, but for example, Asimov, P90. It doesn't matter the price, just look at this. 5 skins. And what you can see here is that for each skin, you have the same percentage of chance. So this means that when you maybe my face is in the skins. I'll change it to right this. You can see here that all of these knives, the butterfly knife fade, the butterfly knife, from cheap to less cheap, they all have the same percentage of chance. So if you do let's say 1000 trade ups, you're gonna get exactly the same amount of knives of each of those. 1000 trade ups, you're gonna get 70 butterfly knives, 70 butterfly knives of these, 70 slaughters, 70 blue steels. You're gonna get the same amount, which is what I wrote down right here. I shared this in the Discord, but nobody really responded to it, so I'm just gonna say it in the video. If this is wrong, then please correct me in the comments. Okay, what I wrote is, if there's a trade up like this, which I've showed you right here, where the percentage to get each knife is the same, that means that there will be created an equal amount of skins of all types. So, if the rarest like the Fade, etc., had 10,000 total knives before the trade up, so let's just say that there were 10,000 knives, 10,000 butterfly Fades before all the trade-ups were done, and the cheapest knives, let's say like the Borrow Forest, had 50,000 items before the trade-ups. And after the people have done 10,000 trade-ups, there would be plus 770 knives of each single type. What I just explained to you, basically. Then this means that of those 10,000 butterfly knives, there is now a 7.7% increase, because 770 knives, new knives, of 10,000, which was before, mean there's a 7.7% increase. That's pretty insane, because of those 50,000 knives, the 50,000 Boreal Forums knives, 770 new knives is only a 2% increase. So there's a five times more increase of these rare knives than of these cheap knives. And maybe it's not the same for each trade up and each knife, but there's going to be less supply of, for example, a few of these skins, and there's going to be more supply of these cheap skins, usually. Maybe I'm not right, and maybe I look stupid right now, but this was what I was thinking. So the relative increase of supply would be more in the expensive rare knives and less in the cheap common knives, meaning the impact on price will be less on the cheap ones and more on the rare ones. Cheap knives stay more stable / go up faster. What I'm basically saying here is that if the expensive knives, if there is more supply created relatively, so if there's like 10% more supply, then the price would go down more than of the cheap knives where there's only a 2% increase in supply. That's what I'm thinking. Cheap knives also have a bigger spread on Western market in my experience. I would buy and sell the cheapest knife for 10% profit. This was harder with $500 to $1,000 plus knives. I'm just saying, if you resell knives, usually cheaper knives are easier to resell because more people are buying it and stuff. Doesn't really matter. So this will mean investing in cheap / common knives will bring better opportunities in item price / reselling profit. These are example numbers, by the way. Yeah, I just made these numbers up. I'm not experienced in trade up. Like, I don't know if this is true because no one has told me if they actually agree with me. But if you do, tell me what you think in the comments. Now let's look at the calculations versus the psychology, okay? Because, there's a big panic because of all the new knives. But actually, if you take a look at this, for example, they said there are 20 million coverts, excluding knives and gloves. Even if you trade up every single low tier skin to a covert, it only adds up to 9 million more. In the worst case scenario, if all skins that exist were traded up to knives, the supply would only double, okay? And then boom, let's take a look at this thing. This thing says all the cases opened or whatever, or all the knives. I don't know what this means, but also this thing says that it can only bring double the supply, okay? And knives have gone down more than double. Knives has gone down like 70%, but if the supply doubled, then the price should go down like 50% usually. Of course, it's not perfect and it's not a linear graph. Technically, then the price of knives should be higher. That is all I'm saying. And this is all a little bit of panic, but also confidence is very important in the market. So the real problem right now is the confidence. This was just what I'm trying to say. And also for all these calculations, no one is going to do a trade-up that is unprofitable, okay? And some people are just not going to do the trade-ups. Some accounts are banned. Some people just don't care. Not all red skins are going to be traded up. So the supply is going to be less than these people are saying, That's what I'm trying to say, okay? Now let's take a look at what items to buy. Once again, do this at your own risk. And I haven't done the full research yet. I'm going to do some more research tomorrow morning and see what items are really the best. But here are like some of the item groups I'm taking a look at. Damn, I cannot speak anymore. First of all, discontinued items. That was the first thing that I was thinking of. Just because usually these items in the long term, they just go up, okay? They just keep going up. Well, now, these are 4 of the cases that are discontinued. I think there are more discontinued cases. I think there are more cases and more items. You probably also have pins and stickers that are discontinued. Take a look at those items, okay? If you're going to buy these cases, look at the unboxing ROI, because no one is going to buy cases that have a 50 or 30% unboxing ROI. Okay, so watch out. The profit with these ones are probably going to be slow, but if you hold these for a year, then probably you can expect to see a decent ROI. That's what I'm thinking. You know, the price have dropped. If we just look at the gallery case, which is the newest one, gallery case CS2. Let me open this one on not clash.dg, on Steam Market, and let's look at the price. What we can see here is that it was 150 before, then it dipped down to about like €1, and now it's about 120 again. So possibly this could be a good item to buy. To be honest, I don't have a lot of like experience in cases, but if you know what you're doing, maybe this is a good one to buy, okay? But I'm not the most confident in these. Then the next one that I would have is play skins that dipped. So if you have play skins, which are either red skins that cannot be traded up, so some collections have red skins that cannot trade up into a knife, or just most other play skins. So the pink play skins, the purple play skins, and the blue play skins. But think about the play skins that people actually want, okay? Don't start buying some random ass play skin that's 50 cents and nobody cares about, okay? Take a look at which ones are the most popular, which ones do people want to buy the most. And this was an example of one random skin which doesn't have anything to do with trade-ups. You can see that it dipped down like crazy and then it recovered very fast. Price going down on this one is just because people are selling their old skins in order to buy new skin. This one just went down because the whole market went down. Otherwise, this price wouldn't have gone down. So you're going to see that a lot of these play skins are undervalued right now. I'm not going to give you an exact skin to buy, but I'm going to tell you, take a look at some play skins that dipped, and you can probably just play with them also. You know, it's a win-win. Maybe take a look at some like old trade-up skins, because people are going to be distracted about trade-upping to a knife. So maybe old trade-up skins, like, okay, so maybe this one, I think this one was a trade-up skin. I think you can use this one to do trade-ups, because most people are not going to think about the old trade-ups right now because they're going to be distracted by the new ones. So maybe this one is going to be a good one. I don't know anything about trade-ups, if I'm totally honest. But for example, this one went from 260 to 80 cents. Okay, that's a very big drop. So maybe there's an opportunity in this one to just like buy 1,000 of them. Okay, what I'm thinking. Let's take a look at the next one, which is going to be knives and gloves, okay? What I've already told you is the common ones are going to be better. I think knives and gloves are underrated right now. Take a look at which knives and gloves are going to be like wanted on the Western markets. And I think if you buy them on the Chinese markets right now, I think you kind of have an opportunity. You know, they are lower than they should be, okay? That's just all I'm trying to say. I'm not going to go more into this, you know, it's kind of generic advice. For the red skins, I do have some good advice. So first of all, look for the undervalued red skins. I know this is very great advice. Look for the red skins that are undervalued. What I just mean is like check the trade-ups and check to see which ones are profitable for trade-ups. And probably people are gonna realize that a little bit later. Other than that is I thought maybe you can snipe some low floats. So a lot of people are not gonna care about the float that their skin had. You know, they bought the skin for $2 and now they can sell it for 20, okay, or probably 30. So they're not gonna care if their float is 0.15 or 0.3. But if you can snipe these 0.15 floats for like market value and then you can resell it a week later, you're gonna have an edge, okay? So try to buy skins with low float. I've seen a lot of skins on the Chinese markets or either on any market that have very low floats but are at the lowest price, okay? Because people don't care, they just want to sell their skins right now, okay? So take advantage of this and snipe low floats. Number one tip I could give for red skins right now, or basically any skin. Then lastly, probably most liquid skins that are sold on Western market, okay? Right now there's a big spread between Upin and CS Float, D-Market, Skinport, whatever. More people are going to buy skins right now. A lot of people are looking to buy knives, buy new skins, you know, at least knives and gloves. A lot of people are going to buy some knives and gloves right now in the next following weeks. Maybe the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're going to see a little bit more demand than usual. So just try to see which items are good to sell on Western markets like CS Float, D-Market, wherever you sell. I don't know where you sell, but try to see which items people actually want and perhaps try to buy them on maybe 30 October or 6 November. That was my advice for what items to buy. Please don't click away because I have something pretty cool. I had 4 red skins in my inventory, 4 red skins. And what I did is someone told me to do this straight up, my friend. And, you know, I was like, okay, you know, let me just try the knife trade up. I have 4 skins that I was going to sell. I bought these skins for like $10 each, I think even less. So I was like, okay, for me, it's only like $50. I bought a random skin on the Steam market, just one of the cheapest ones. And I'll just show you the clip of what happened, but I got something pretty cool.
Oh,